I welcome you all to the today's session on manufacturing of cement and the cement chemistry. I am Dr. D. Prasida, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Civil Engineering of VNR VJIET. So we are going to discuss about the manufacturing of the cement and the cement chemistry in this lecture. So just to give in a glimpse of what actually the cement is. So we do see cement as a greenish gray colored powder, which is going to be made of the calcine mixtures of the clay and the limestone. So this process of manufacturing do involve the various materials such as argillaceous materials and the calcareous materials. As well, it do also involve the different processes like the dry process and the wet process. So to speak about the cement, so we all know like the cement has been invented by the John Aspdin, who was a British stone mason in the 1824. And how he has invented is like, so he has brought in some lime and clay to his kitchen, and he has cooked in, like means he has calcined. In other words, we could also able to say in like he has subjected two of the materials to higher temperatures, after which he could able to see in hard granules have been obtained, and from which he has ground them to a fine powder, and he has mixed that powder into the water, which he could able to observe like the initial setting has happened first, after which whole of the matrix have been turned into a hardened matrix. So after his invention, coming to the application of the cement, so the cement was used in the tunnel construction in the Thames River in 1828. So talking about the manufacturing of the cement, so there are 4 stages that are going to get involved in the whole process. The first phase is the mixing of the raw materials. The second is the burning. Third is the grinding. And fourth is the storage and packing. So coming to the mixing of the raw materials, so we could able to see in like there are 2 main materials what are going to be used for the manufacturing of the cement. The first one is argillaceous, the second one is a calcareous. So argillaceous materials are nothing but the materials which are going to be rich in silica, aluminum and iron, and calcareous materials are nothing but which are going to be rich in calcium oxide like limestone. And the 2 processes has said going to get being used for the manufacturing of the cement or the dry process and the wet process. So talking about the dry process, so in this what is going to just happen in is both the calcareous and argillaceous raw materials are going to be first crushed in a gravity crushers to reduce its size to obtain a size of 2 to 5 centimeters, and after which they are also going to be sent into the secondary crushers wherein fine particles are going to be obtained from it, and after which the powdered materials are going to get mixed in a required proportions, and you could also able to see the proportions of the materials in the required range are going to be stored in the silos, and after which they are going to be sent into the rotary kiln. So coming to the wet process, so in this what is going to just happen in is first the raw materials are going to get crushed as the thing what we have seen in case of the dry process, and we could able to get in a powdered form of these materials and going to get stored in the silos. So next process what is going to be followed is the clay is going to be washed, and the organic matter what is going to be present in it is going to be removed off, and after which the powdered limestone and the water washed clay are going to be sent into the channels, and after which they are going to get transferred into the grinding mills where they are going to be completely mixed and the paste is formed. So then the grinding is going to be done in a ball mill, after which the slurry is going to be led into the collecting basin from where it is going to be in a ready position to be sent into the rotary kiln. And next stage, what is going to get involved in the manufacturing of the cement is a burning of the materials. So in this process, we are going to be using a rotary kiln into which the materials are going to be passed in. So it will be spanning of several meters depending upon the capacity of the cement plant, and it is going to be rotated at a speed of 1 to 2 RPM along its longitudinal axis. So the raw mix from the dry process and corrected slurry of the wet process is going to get injected into the rotary kiln from the upper end. So here the coal is going to be used as a fuel, which is going to be used to burn in the rotary kiln from the lower end. Next, we could able to see in the lower part that of the rotary kiln is going to be of temperature 1400 to 1500 degrees centigrade. So we could able to see in like whole of this material which is being just passed into the rotary kiln is going to be subjected at different temperatures from 300 to 450 degrees centigrade while they are going to be getting descended throughout the process of the rotary kiln. And after which we could able to see in like the material is going to get heated up, and at the end of the rotary kiln we could able to see in like the harder material is going to be obtained, which we are going to call it to be as a clinker. So this will be of pellets, and the size is going to get varied from 5 to 10 mm. And this clinker is again, after being obtained, it is going to be passed on to the grinding mill, from where we could able to get in the cement along as a product after it is been ground along with the gypsum. So the grinding is a next process, and in which we could able to see in like the clinker what is going to get obtained from the rotary kiln will be of very, very high temperature. So this part of a clinker what is being obtained from the rotary kiln is going to be cooled first, and after which they are going to be sent to the grinding mill, where along with the gypsum of content 2 to 3% is going to be fed in along with the clinker into the grinding mill and ground to a fine powder, and as a result we could able to get in a cement as a final product. And next process what is going to get involved is a storage and packing. So the cement can be stored in the silos before they are going to get packed as 50 kgs bags. So this is a flow diagram of the wet process and the dry process. So wherein we could able to see the quarrying of the raw material, which is going to be common in for both the wet process and the dry process. Next, the raw meal preparation. So wherein we could able to see first the raw material is going to be sent into the crushers, maybe of primary and also to the secondary crushers in order to reduce its size, and next followed by making them into a powdered form. Next, the raw meal preparation. So here what we are going to be doing is we are going to be proportioning in the quantities of the limestone that need to be added in, and as well the clay, and they are going to be ground together. Next, we could able to see in whole of this proportion material is going to be sent into the water mills for washing, and as a result we could able to see the slurry is being formed, and they are going to be blended in the required proportions. Whereas in the dry process we could able to see the dry mixing of the material is happening, and after which they are going to be sent into the preheater, and from there we could able to see in the they are going to be sent into the rotary kiln. So in wet process we could able to see like material which is going to be in the slurry form is going to be blended in the required proportions and sent to the rotary kiln, and from there on the process is going to be common for both the wet process and the dry process. So from the rotary kiln we could able to see the clinker is going to be obtained as an end product, and from there they are going to be sent into the cooler. Next, we could able to see the powdered cement is going to be obtained after grinding along with the gypsum. So here we could able to see the gypsum added for the cement which is of OPC, and but if we need to get in PPC, we could able to see in like the gypsum along with the fly ash is going to be added in along with the clinker in the grinding unit. So after which they are going to be packed and dispatched. And this is a schematic diagram of whole of the manufacturing process that is going to get involved in the cement preparation. So we could able to see the limestone which is going to be quarried and sent to the crushers, and after which they are going to be passed on to the secondary crushers where the powdered form of the limestone is going to get obtained in. So the clay and the required materials are going to be stored in the silos, and after which we could able to see the proportioning of the materials is going to be done in. So they are going to get passed into the grinding mill where whole of the material together in the required proportions are going to be grounded, after which that is going to be sent into the preheater, which we can also be calling it to be as precalcination, and after which they're going to be sent into the cement kiln, and from where we could able to see the clinker obtained is going to be sent to the clinker cooler, and after which they are going to be sent into the grinding unit where the addition of the fly ash or gypsum is going to take place along with the clinker, and as a product, the final product, we could able to see the cement is going to be obtained, which is going to be stored in the silos, and they are going to be shipped to many of the parts of the country. So to see in some of the information pertaining to the cement plants in India, as well some information pertaining to the production of the cement in India. So as of March 2025, we could able to see in like the India has a total of 210 large cement plants with about 77 concentrated in Andhra Pradesh, Rajasthan and in Tamil Nadu, and 32% of the cement production capacity is being based in South India, followed by the 20% in North India and 15 in West, 13 in Central, and the remaining 20% is being concentrated in East India. So the sector benefits from the abundant limestone deposits that are being available all across the parts of the country, which actually ensures a strong resource base for the expansion that is been happening in establishment of the cement plants in India. So talking about the volumes of the cement that has been produced, so in the year of 25, the financial year, so total cement volumes has been reached to 453 million tons, which is found to be a rise by 6.3%. So March 2025 alone recorded the volume of production of the cement to be of 46.5 million metric tons. A rise of 12% is being observed when compared to the last year. So in 2025 of May, the industry grew by 9%, reaching to a production of 39.6 million metric tons, with private players such as Ultratech and Adani driving the volumes. So some of the key players in the concrete production are the ACC, the Ambuja Cements, the Ultratech Cements, Dalmia Bharat and Sri Cements. So they have been representing whole of 74% of the industry capacity. And coming to the cement chemistry, so cement chemistry, we all know, like it refers to the study of the reactions as well the transformation that do occur when non-hydrated cement or its constituents interact with the water, which results in the formation of many chemical reactions, as well the changes do occur in respect to the physiochemical properties, including the setting and hardening process. So firstly, speaking about the chemical composition of the cement, so these are the oxides that are going to be present. So the major oxide that is going to be present in the cement is always the CaO, which is we are going to call it to be as a calcium oxide, which is going to be present in the range of 60 to 67%, followed by SiO2 in the range of 17 to 25%, followed by Al2O3, Fe2O3, and some alkalis and SO3. And when the material is being fed into the rotary kiln. So when it is going to get subjected to the oxygen, we could able to see the oxides getting formed, and after which the material is going to get subsided all through the rotary kiln. So in that process, we could able to see each of the oxides what are going to be present or going to get reacted with one another to form in the Bogue compounds. So there are four main Bogue compounds that are going to be present in the cement. So the tricalcium silicate, which is going to be present in the range of 30 to 50%, and which is also going to be responsible for the early age strength development to the cement matrix, and dicalcium silicate, that is C2S, which is going to be present in the range of 20 to 45%, and it is going to be responsible for the strength development at the later ages, so from after 7 days to 1 year. And tricalcium aluminate is another Bogue compound which is going to be present in the cement in the range of 8% to 12%. So this tricalcium aluminate with its presence, what is going to be happening is we could able to see in a flash setting is going to be happening for the cement when reacted with the water. So in order to overcome this effect, we could able to see in the gypsum is being added. So next is the tetracalcium aluminoferrate, which is in short going to be represented as C4AF, which is going to be present in the 6% to 10%. So it is going to be acting as a filler cement to make it economical, and also gives in the cement its color. So next we are going to speak about the hydration of the cement. So hydration of the cement is nothing but the chemical reaction that is going to get involved in when cement is going to come in contact with the water. So when we could able to see the schematic view of the hydration of the cement. So in the first picture, we could able to see in the cement particles alone. So when water is being added in the second diagram, we could able to see there will be a dissolution of these cement particles happening, with some of the hydration products getting deposited all along the periphery of the cement particles. So with age, we could able to see whole of the matrix is going to be completely filled in with the hydration products, leaving only some pores in the matrix. So the main hydration products, what are going to get formed in the cement matrix or the silica, CSH, CH, and calcium aluminohydrates. And these are the same images of the cement after hydration, what are being taken from the SEM analysis. So we could able to see in each of these hydration products will be having a similar morphology. So ettringite, if you could able to see in, it will be appearing in the form of needle-like structure, and CSH, it will be of tobermory gel, and CH, if you could able to see in, it will be of flaky material. So likewise, these are some of the pictures what we could able to see in and analyze for the formation of different hydration products inside the cement matrix after hydration. So this is the concluding part of the cement chemistry. So here we could able to see in like the materials like the argillaceous or the calcareous, which are going to be rich in silica, calcium, aluminum, iron. After they get fed into the rotary kiln, so they are going to get subjected to the oxygen. So when these elements going to get reacted with the oxygen, they are going to get converted into the oxides. So when these oxides react with one another, it results in the formation of the Bock compounds. So we could also able to see in various types of cement can be manufactured with the alteration of the proportion of these Bock compounds that are going to be present in the cement. So we do have many of the different types of cements that have been come into practice now, like alite cement, bilite cement, magnesium phosphate cements, etc. So all of these types of cements are being formed with the alteration of the proportions of these Bock compounds presence in the cement. So next we have spoke about the hydration products. So the hydration products mainly influence the strength of the cement matrix or always the CSH gel and CH. So this is the lecture. Thank you so much.
Like, share, comment, and subscribe VNR Digital Learning Resource YouTube channel.